Hello, everyone. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, all. I'm glad to see
Hello guys, how are you? Hi Debbie, how are you doing?
you. Hello, Renata. I'm fine. What about you? Are you okay?
Fine.
Cool.
Yes. So
Guys,
how about these kids today? So how have they done?
probably quite well because they are used to doing quite well on tests.
Yes, I believe so too. They've done really great with the mock tests, right?
They did, yeah.
So now
Guys,
let's see their questions today.
for the ones who don't remember us, right? My name is Debbie. I'm teacher Debbie. This is teacher Renata. We are both Brazos teachers, okay? And together with some other teachers, we are in charge of TOEFL Junior Prep courses, kindly offered by Brazos to all the eligible students. And today, what are you doing today? Today, we are here to help you guys, to help you with your mock test answers, your mock test mistakes in case you did, okay? We hope you did great. We do hope you did great. But in case some of you didn't, we are here to tell you, don't worry that much. Okay, why not? Because mock test is just a test to measure your skills and your abilities. It's not the official test yet. You're gonna take the official test at your branches, okay, after the whole isolation thing and everything, all right? So don't worry that much. We are pretty sure that our students at Brazos, they do quite well. They develop language skills, listening and reading skills quite well. And they
Yeah.
also have a good knowledge of grammar and vocabulary. Okay. So what worries us like the most is about time management. Time management is a thing. I consider time management like the trickiest thing, because as I said, our students are very good at the other things, but sometimes they struggle with managing time. They don't know how to manage time to go through the whole test successfully. That's why Brazos offered this gift, right? Brazos gifted the students with this prep course to guide them with the test format, the test sections, how many sections are there, how many subsections are there, questions, question types, and how much time a student should spend on a single question to go through the whole test successfully. We took part, teacher Renata and I and some other teachers, we took part in 4 meetings, 4 classes, plus one mock test, so total of 5, right? And today, this live is an extra opportunity you guys have to be helped by Brazos, to be helped by us, and to learn some more about the full junior tests. Okay, so how is it going to be, guys? Teacher Renata and I are going to take turns so as to go through the whole correction, okay? And we hope you take notes, all right? To grab your notebook, your answer sheet, or piece of paper, something like this, so that you can take notes and give second thoughts to your answers in case they were wrong, of course. Because if they were right, no need to give second thoughts to anything, right? In case you still have some further questions, you are free to ask us using the chat box here, all right? We promise that we'll try to answer like most of them. We cannot promise that, but we're gonna try. But the ones that we don't answer like right now, they will be answered eventually afterwards. Okay? Shall we get started? Shall
Let's
we?
go, Debbie. I'm ready. I'm ready if you are.
Let's do it. Guys, you remember that the first section is listening comprehension section. Okay, listening comprehension section. And now I'm going to show you the transcripts of listening comprehension, the first set. Okay, guys, the first set, the practice set 1, comprehends from questions 1 to question 11. All right, I told you that I'm going to take turns. So I'll be in charge of set 1, teacher Renata will be in charge of set 2, and so on. All right, so let's start. Guys, number 1, the question is, what does the teacher suggest about the play Peter Pan? Guys, the answer is at the end of the talk, at the end of the announcement. The teacher says the following: if you at least come for the auditions, I guarantee you won't be sorry. What does it mean, guys? That means that the students will enjoy being it. So the answer is letter D, because it says the same thing the teacher said previously, but using different words, okay? So the students will enjoy, because she said, I guarantee you won't be sorry. Let's go to number 2. The question is, what is the subject of the announcement? Guys, on the second line of the transcript that you heard, of course, that now we're not going to listen to it again, but you have the transcript on the screen so you can see them, right? So the second line says the following. That means that there may be no school on Monday. Guys, there may be no school. So what is the correct answer, guys? Letter D, the possibility of school closing on Monday. As we've learned at Brazos already, may is a modal verb that implies possibility. So there may be, it's a possibility that the school will be closed due to weather conditions, all right? So very easy, isn't it? Okay, so let's move on. Now, guys, this text here comprehends questions 3 through 6, okay? There is a big talk, a big dialogue between two friends and everything. I'm not going to read everything for you, but I'm going to go straight to the questions and to the answers, okay? So number 3, guys, the question is the following. Where is the conversation probably taking place? Guys, the first line, no, sorry, the second line. Yeah, the first line, the woman says, are you on your way to science class now? So guys, just by listening to this question, just by reading this question, you are quite sure that they are at school, right? Or they are at school, or they are at college, some kind of school-related building, okay? So since they are talking about science class, obviously the correct answer is letter D, in a school hallway, okay? That's how you get the answers, guys. Just reading the text again or listening carefully to the text and getting some parts. You don't need to understand word by word, as I've always told you that, okay? All right, guys, number 4. The question is the following. Why is the boy surprised? Why is the boy surprised? So let's go back to the text. Guys, the boy is surprised. By the way, he asked her, Kathy? Oh, hi. Yes, but what are you doing here? I thought you'd be on the trip to Pine Mountain with the nature club. So doesn't that show surprise? Yes, see, he is surprised. So why is the boy surprised, guys? The answer is letter C. He did not expect to see the girl today because he thought she'd be traveling, right? Let's go to number 5. The question is, what caused plans to change during the trip to the mountain? So what made these plans change? Guys, so let's go back to the text, okay? So here, the girl says, apparently last week it rained so much that parts of the hiking trail were washed away. So they closed it, okay? So what is the answer? The answer is letter C. A path on the mountain was closed. This is exactly what the girl said that happened. Number 6, the question is, what does the girl suggest about the food on the trip? Guys, when there is this verb like suggest, that means that she doesn't say that like clearly. It's implied. You have to infer from the text. You have to get to the conclusion. All right? So what does the girl suggest? So let's see. Let's go back to the text. Okay, number 6. She says, here, at the end of the talk, she says, it was nice to get home and eat my mother's home-cooked meal. It was nice to get home and eat my mother's home-cooked meal. What does she suggest? She suggests that she'd rather eat her mom's home-cooked meal than eat food made over campfire, right? So the answer is letter A. It did not taste good. It did not taste good. You see how easy it is to find, the answers when you just get rid of some alternatives. Now, guys, we have a biology class, okay, a biology class taught by a teacher, and it comprehends questions 7 through 11. So let's go straight to the question. Okay, the question is, what is the main topic of the talk? What is the main topic of the talk? Guys, here, while the teacher is talking, he says something like, one particular kind of event, one particular kind of event community. So when he says one particular kind of event, something particular, something specific, right? Something maybe unusual. So letter B is correct, guys. A type of event with unusual skills. A type of event with unusual skills. The other options, guys, I'm not considering because the other options are not even mentioned by the teacher, by the talker, by the speaker, all right? Let's go to number 8. According to the teacher, what is one activity that both leafcutter ants and people do? So one thing that they have in common. So let's see. Okay, so guys, here the talker says, let me see. So you could say, yes, the second line. So you could say these ants are like people, like farmers. But why are they like people, like farmers? Let's read what comes previously. He said, one particular kind of ant community also grows its own food. So what is the similarity between people in this kind of ants? That they grow their own food. So number 8, letter B. Exactly this, even with the same words, grow their own food. All right? Very good, guys. Number 9, we have the following question. Why does the teacher talk about fungi? Why does the teacher talk about fungi? Yes, the teacher talks about fungi, but what is the purpose? Why does she talk about, she or he, I don't remember, talk about fungi, guys? Because, look, if you look at here, before he starts talking about fungi, he asks, and what do these ants grow? And what do these ants grow? They grow fungi. So one of the options on number 9 is the following, to explain about what ants grow. So this is exactly the answer, guys, to explain about what ants grow, because here the question is, what do these ants grow? They grow fungi. So why is fungi mentioned by the teacher? To explain what ants grow. Letter B is correct. Very good, guys. Let's move on. Let's go to number 10. The question is, what does the teacher say many people think must be true about leafcutter ants? So when you read this question, you know that what people think must be true is not the truth itself, right? So let's see, guys. Here it says the following. Because the second paragraph, okay, the first line of the second paragraph. Because of their name, people often think that leafcutter ants eat leaves. So let's see if this is one of the options. Yes, look, the first option, letter A, they eat leaves. This is exactly what many people think that must be true about these ants. Now, guys, let's go to our last question of the first section, the first set. The question is the following. What did the experiments show about leafcutter ants? Guys, this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is at the very end of the talk, okay? So let's read the final line, the final line, the last line. The experiments showed that some super ants can lift leaves about 100 times the weight of their body. So this is what the experiments showed. So let's see the options, guys. Look, the only option that talks about weight and carrying weight and stuff related to this is letter D. How much weight they can carry. How much weight they can carry, letter D is correct. Okay? So guys, I'm done with practice set 1. Now teacher Renata is going to explain practice set 2. So teacher Renata, good luck. By the way, are there any questions for me to answer related to practice set 1? Let me see if Lucas or Diego have some questions from me. No questions? Okay. So
Debbie, thank you very much, sweetie. Brilliant. So, guys, I'm sure that based on what she explained, you could see that sometimes the answer is not exactly what you're going to listen. So what's important is that you have to pinpoint the main idea of the topic. Okay. So now we are going to see some examples, and then on practice set 2. And then we're going to see some examples that clearly states that some questions, the answer is exactly like Debbie said, exactly the way it was written. Others you have to, you have to guess, you have to analyze by the tone of the speaker. So this is very, very important, okay? So guys, this here, we have a teacher talking to a science class, something very short, okay? So here they are talking about a Bunsen burner. A Bunsen burner is an equipment used in laboratories use it for heating things, okay? So basically here, the question is, what is the teacher explaining, okay? So when you see here, right on line 2, if you smell gas, raise your hand and say so. So now the answer is letter B, what to do if there is a gas leak. All right? So because if they smell gas, it's because there is a gas leak. So if there is a gas leak, what should they do? They should leave the books, exit the room calmly and quietly. Okay? So the correct answer is, although letter A may confuse you, but the thing is, you smell gas. Why? Because there is a leak. So the correct answer is letter B. Okay? So what's the teacher explaining? What to do if there is a gas leak. Okay? Now, question number 2 is about the secretary making an announcement about something that is going to happen, at the school. All right? So now this announcement is about a photography section. So what the question is, what is the purpose of the announcement? Okay, now the answer is letter A. Why is the answer is letter A? If you see here, look, of course, your parents or relatives will see this photo. So please try to look neat and dress your best. That's very important, okay? So when they emphasize that's very important, is what? Is that they want the students to look their best for photo day, okay? Because the others, they don't mention anything about coming on time, or okay, they mention that the students, that the families are going to see the pictures, but that's not the purpose of the announcement. Due to the fact that the families are going to see the pictures, they must look what? They must look beautiful, neatly dressed. So that's why it's important to look their best for their photo day. Okay? Now, these were quite easy, right? Now, questions 3 to 6, we have a longer conversation between two friends at school. And what's going on here? I don't know if you remember from the day. There is a problem, okay? They were about to do something else when there is a problem. So what's that problem? Well, by the first line, you said, you look a little frustrated, Ken. What's wrong? So when we have the questions here, what's the boy problem? Okay, what's the boy problem? The correct answer is what? Letter C, he cannot find his mobile phone. Why? Right here in the dialogue, the second line, where's my mobile phone? I'm sure I put it in the side pocket of my backpack, but it's not here. It must have fallen out. Okay? So the correct answer is he cannot find his mobile phone. So letter C. All right? It's got nothing to do with being broken or he forgot or anything. All right? Or that he left it at home. He just doesn't remember. He just lost it. Okay? Now, then his friend suggests something. But so what does the boy say his teacher makes the class do? All right. When he mentions here, she said to call the phone, and then of course that's what we usually do when we lose our phone. Please, can you call me, right? Can you call me? And then the phone is going to ring. But there's a problem here, right? He turns off the phone. Why? Here, The teacher makes us turn off our phones when we are in class, remember? So here, question number 4. What does the boy say the teacher makes the class do? So turn off their mobile phones. So here it's quite clear in the dialogue, okay? Now, as the dialogue goes on, the girl, she has a suggestion, all right? So she has a suggestion for the problem. So the answer is, on number 5 is letter A, to suggest a solution to the boy's problem. So why does the girl talk about making signs? Oh, sorry. Why does the girl talk about making signs? If you said here, I think the best thing to do is make signs asking anyone who finds your phone to bring it back. So that's our solution for the problem. That's her solution for the problem. Okay? So what does the girl talk about making signs? Letter A, to suggest a solution to the boy's problem. So letter number 6 is immediately answered on number 5, right? So what will the boy and girl probably do next? Letter B, make some signs, right? Okay, so if you see here, come on, the last line, the very last line. Come on, let's get started. I've got some paper right here. Okay, so the correct answer is make some signs, letter B. Okay, now our next listening that goes question 7 to 10 is a longer text, right? It's a teacher explaining something in a biology class, all right? So now what's the teacher explaining? Here she's talking about some scientific article. Actually, they're talking about sponges, yeah? And then along the text, the teacher explains the characteristics and what it does and etc. So the question here is, what is the purpose of the talk? I remember telling you in the classes that we have to be alert. We have to pinpoint the main idea, because this kind of question is going to have, what's the purpose of the talk? What's the main idea of the talk? What's the author wants to say? So it's usually what? To get the focus of the part of the dialogue of the talk. Okay? So what's the purpose of the talk? Right here, we see line 3. Actually, starts on line 2. But in fact, sponges are not plants. They are very simple sea animals that basically have 2-stage life cycle. So the question is, what's the purpose of the talk? Okay, so the correct is letter A, to explain the different life stages of sponges. Nobody mentions anything about quiz or to illustrate how they get their food. It's much more than that. To clarify that sponges are not plants. No, it's mentioned in the talk, but it's not only that. Basically, they explain the life stages of the sponges. Okay, there are 2 cycles. Now, and then our next question is, why does the teacher mention rocks, shells, and seabeds? All right. Now, here, letter A we see is what? A. Why? Because when we see here, when they mention all of this, is what? They mention to show that the sponges, they attach to something, right? Okay, so, and then they explain here, that to note some things that sponges attach to, all right? So number 8, letter A. Letter A is the correct answer. Now, then, when they go further in the talk, the question is about the coral reefs, yes? So what can be inferred from the talk about coral reefs? Okay, so here the answer is that they make good home for sponges. Letter B, right? Letter B. When we talk about coral reefs, here, in coral reefs, line 7 here. So in coral reefs, sponges are able to find a lot of food, and the red, blue, and yellow colors of the sponges add to the beautifully colored. All right? And then they explain that they attach and they grow into the life stage. Right? So now, number 9, we see letter B, that they make a good home for sponges. All right? Now, and then finally, according to the teacher, what is the most distinct characteristics of sponges? All right, so here the correct answer, why? They explain the design of the sponges. That so the correct answer is letter D. So they have holes that run through them. When we have here, okay, now they right almost at the end, you see water enters the sponge's body through holes. And once inside the sponge's body, the water is filtered and tiny parts of food are taken from it. Okay? So then they explain here, that the main characteristic is that they have holes that run through them. Okay? So this is what we have here. All right, so I will call Debbie now. Guys, do you have any questions with this part of Praxac 2? Any questions here that you might have? Burners, like this Bunsen burners is an equipment. Luis Guilherme, right? Thanks for your question. It's an equipment used in laboratories that they have some flames and they use it to heat things. All right, use it for combustion. All right. So it's an equipment. So probably here, this is a student in a science class, and they are having like a practice with some kind of equipment. And then it's very important to pay attention to the gas, if there is a gas leak. Okay? Any other question?
Yeah, I think that's all. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks, Abby. Go ahead.
Very clear explanations. So let's move on. Let's move forward. Let's try to understand practice set 3. Okay, guys? The first question is the following. What can be inferred about the last field trip? What can be inferred or concluded about the last field trip? Guys, the first thing that the teacher says is the following. I don't want to have the same problem that we had with our last field trip. So something happened, okay, on the last field trip that the teacher doesn't want it to happen again. What was it? Letter C, guys. Some students didn't bring parent permission slips, okay, because this is exactly what the teacher says next. So please don't forget to pick up parent permission to slip off my desk. So don't do it again. Don't make the same mistake again, right? So number 1, letter C is correct. Let's go to number 2. Why is the teacher talking about the indoor garden? Why is the teacher talking about the indoor garden? Guys, the whole point of this talk is the following. The teacher says, we'll need someone to take care of our wonderful indoor garden. So since he and all the staff will need someone to take care, the answer is letter B, to ask for a volunteer to take care of it. Letter B is correct, crystal clear. No problems about number 2. Now let's see number 3, guys. Number 3, the question is the following. What is the subject of the announcement? What is the subject of the announcement? Guys, here the teacher says the subject of the announcement really clearly, right? He says the following. This year, the first line. This year, not just 1, but 3 of our students will be receiving national awards. So guys, this option is letter C. Some students will receive awards. It's crystal clear. He doesn't even change the words, okay? The same words are repeated on the options. Now, guys, questions 4 through question 7, we're going to have to understand this talk between 2 friends, Lisa and Jeff. But let's go straight to the question. Number 4, what are the students mainly discussing? What are they mainly discussing? Guys, the first thing that one of them says is the following. Well, Mr. Jennings hung up a notice about a big project that is going on downtown. So what are they talking about, guys? They are talking about a new art project in the city, downtown city center. So if they're talking about something happening downtown, something related to art, so letter A is correct. A new art project in the city. Number 5. Why is the boy excited? Why is the boy excited? So let's see why is he excited, right? Guys, he's excited because he says, here, let me see. Imagine when he says, cool. This is the word that shows excitement, right? Cool. I'd love to help design a mural. Imagine everyone in town walking past the wall and seeing my artwork every day. So this shows how excited the boy is. But why is he excited? Because his artwork might be seen, in case he's chosen, in case his artwork is chosen, his artwork might be seen by many people, right? So that's why he's excited for. Letter B is correct. Number 5, letter B. Now let's understand number 6. The question is, where does the boy say he may go this weekend? Guys, let's see. Where does he say he may go this weekend? Guys, he says here, I'll try to visit the zoo. Here, I'll try to visit the zoo this weekend, you know? So he's very clear when he says the place he intends to visit. Okay, letter A, zoo. He may go to the zoo this weekend. Number 7, the question is the following. What does the girl suggest that the boy do at the art room? What does the girl suggest? So let's see, guys. The girl suggests here that he get more information from Mr. Jennings when she says, at the very end of the conversation, she says the following. Well, maybe you should go to the art room first to get more information from Mr. Jennings. So guys, letter D is correct. Get more information. So we are done with this part. Now let's move on. Questions 8 through 11 is another biology class, not about ants this time, about camels, all right? So the teacher talked about camels. Let's go straight to question number 8. What is the main topic of the talk? What is the main topic of the talk? So let's see. The teacher starts by saying the following. The camel is an example of an animal that is especially adapted to survive in harsh conditions. So this is the main topic of the talk. Let's see what option this is. Which option we have here? Letter B, how camels survive in the desert. Teacher, but he is not mentioned desert. Yes, but it's mentioned hard conditions. And you know that in the desert, we can find harsh conditions, right? So letter B is correct. Number 8, letter B, how camels survive in the desert. Number 9, the question is, what false belief about camels does the teacher correct? What false belief about camels does the teacher correct? Guys, here, the teacher says on the second line the following. Many people think that camels hold water in their humps, but that is actually not true. So what is the teacher doing here? He's correcting people's thought, people's fake thought, right? So what is this belief? What is this fake thought? Guys, the fake thought is the following, letter D, that they store water in their humps, right? People think they store water, but they don't actually do it. Question number 10, what does a teacher imply about the food that camels eat? Guys, imply, what does a teacher imply? What does a teacher conclude? What does a teacher suggest? That means that the answer is not like there, out there for us to see, but it's there. You have to understand the meaning of what the teacher is saying or the speaker is saying, okay? So let's try to find the answer, number 10. Let me read the question again because I forgot. What does the teacher imply about the food that camels eat, right? Guys, here, the last line of the first paragraph, the teacher says the following. Of course, camels wouldn't need to carry a safety supply of fat if it were easy to find something to eat where they live. Guys, listen, if it were easy, but it's not. We learned that was a second condition, right? So it isn't easy if it were easy. It isn't easy if it were easy. So it's not easy to find something to eat where they live. So if it's not easy, it's difficult. So what does the teacher imply about the food that camels eat? It's difficult to find. Letter C. It's out there for you. Number 11, the last question for this set, okay? According to the teacher, what is harmful to most animals' health? So let's see, guys. The teacher says the following. Here, in the middle of the last paragraph, okay? The teacher says the following. A camel can drink incredible amounts of water, a lot more than most other animals can take in without getting sick. You see, there is a limit on how much an animal can drink. So what does the teacher say? What is harmful to animals? To most animals, of course, except for camels. It's harmful to drink too much water. Letter A is correct, guys. Drinking too much water. Yes, so we are done with set 3. Now questions. Let me see if there are questions for me to answer. What is field? Guys, field is an external area usually covered by grass or maybe sand. People can plant trees on the field, right? It's usually an external area used to plant. Okay, field trip, that means a trip that you go like outdoors, maybe hiking or fishing, whatever. No more questions? Guys, thank you very much. To gather up. Okay, to gather up, to put together. The verb, the word together comes from the verb to gather, but together with the A, to put things together, to make things be joined. Thank you for the questions, by the way.
English is a magic.
Harmful, look, full of harm, harmful. Full of beauty, beautiful. Full of power, powerful. So full, the suffix full means full of harm, something that causes damage. Harmful. Smoking is harmful to your health. Don't smoke, man. It's harmful. It's dangerous. It causes harm and damage. More questions for me? No? Thank you very much. Now, Teacher Renata, that's your turn. Practice set 4. Go, girl.
English is definitely a very magic language, right, Debbie?
Yes,
We
it
can
is.
see here that how they can learn from the little things. That's very good. So now we're almost done with the listening part. Yes, and I bet they've done pretty well. What do you think?
I couldn't agree more. Totally agree with you.
So let's check now. Okay, let's see if you aced this listening part, right, guys? Okay, now we are going to start with practice set 4. Okay, so here this is number 1 is a teacher giving instructions to a class. Okay, so it's about an assignment. All right, and as I told you, normally the first question that they say, it's something very precise about the passage. So now, what's the teacher talking about the assignment? All right. So here she mentions here in the middle, be sure to cover the main points in the book, but that's not only one part of it. You will also need to tell me your opinion of the book. So pay attention, guys. Here the answer is implicit. Okay. So the correct answer is letter B. Why? Pay attention. She says, be sure to cover the main points in the book, but that's not only one part. You also need to tell me your opinion of the book. So the correct answer, to explain that there are 2 parts of it. Okay? Now, number 2, again, you have a teacher, but at this time, the teacher is making an announcement in class, okay? So about cell phones, yes? Something that we have been telling you also at Brazos about cell phones, right? So here, now, what will the teacher probably do next? Okay, so the teacher is explaining that Principal Boggs is talking about the problems concerning cell phones. Okay, and then he mentions that the students won't be allowed anymore. All right, so and then it says, so starting today, I'll be collecting all cell phones at the beginning of the class. So now, so here I'll be collecting. So the answer is letter A. gather up the student's cell phone. So not the same verb that Debbie explained, but with a slightly a little difference. He will collect, he will get together all the cell phones in the class. So he is sorry about it, but it's got to be done. So letter A, gather up the students' cell phones. Okay? Now, then questions 3 to 6. You have two friends having a conversation, and both are teenagers, and one of them they're actually almost the same age, right? But something is different between the two of them, right? One is going to get his driver's license, and the other has already gotten her driver's license. So the questions here: what are the two friends mainly discussing? All right. So driving a car, their father's turning 16 years old, or getting a driver's license. The point here, right in the first line: when did you get your driver's license? Right? The conversation starts with this: when did you get your driver's license? So now, like, what are the two friends mainly discussing? Right? Getting a driver's license. All right? So letter D. Yeah? Now, so 4. What does the boy mean when he says, I mean, you've only been 16 for 2 weeks? So he's surprised. Why is he surprised? Because the girl, although she has turned 16 very recently, she has already gotten her driver's license. So the girl, she is very eager to get her driver's license. So when he says, I mean, you've only been 16 for 2 weeks. Yeah. So that he thinks the girl got her license quickly. Okay. So 4, letter C. He thinks the girl got her license quickly. All right. So as it's very typical of friends to give to tell your friends to do exactly what we do. So what does the girl suggest the boys about the boy's age? So she mentions here. She mentions here. Wow, I was pretty excited. And then he says, I mean, you were already 16. What's taking you so long? So the boy is a little bit older. Although the boy is a little bit older than the girl, he hasn't gotten his yet, but for a particular reason. That is the subject of the question that we're going to see. But what does the girl suggest about the boy's age? Yeah, that he's old enough to get his driver's license, right? But as I mentioned, she's the boy told her something about being old enough. So he says, my dad thinks I should wait another year. He really wants me to focus on my schoolwork for now. So the question here is, why does the boy talk about his schoolwork? Okay, why? So then he mentions that if I get good marks this year, yes, good marks, good grades. If I get good marks this year, then I might try to get my license next year. I might try, as Debbie explained, may and might is a modal verb that shows what? Possibility. So it's possible to happen. Then I might try to get my driver's license next year, right? So then the answer is that here to explain that he will not get his license until next year. All right. So 6, letter B. Okay. Now, moving on to our next set of questions, that is question 7 to 10. Here we have, at this time, we have a discussion in a history class. They are talking about something from the past. That is what? The hot air balloon, right? So, and then the teacher is explaining how the air balloon developed and if it's used nowadays, and the main characteristics of the hot air balloon, right? So now the questions here is, what are the teacher and student mainly talk about? All right. So they start talking about balloons, right? And then he says, when the first airplane was flown just over 100 years ago, well, we are used to it now, but imagine what it was like to see airplanes flying for the first time. Then there was a question. The girl raises a question. But why didn't the people fly in balloons before that? I mean, those big hot air balloons. And then he says about the problems, right? Balloons were quite popular at first, but one problem with balloons is that they depend on wind and pilots who never know for sure where the wind would take them. So here we have the answer. So 7, we have what? What are the teacher and students mainly talking about? Problems related to flying by balloon. All right. So they are not learning how to pilot a balloon, or they are not mentioning anything about records or not different kinds of balloon. So mainly here, the teacher's explaining why the hot air balloons were not used. Okay, and then why did the teacher give this class about the air balloon? Because there is going to be an event in the city. So what event does the girl mention? So it's what? Letter B, a ballooning contest, right? A ballooning contest. All right. They mention here for curiosity, right? So here it says on the news they said there is going to be a ballooning contest in town next month. So in town, in the city, right? Okay. And number 9, according to the teacher, what must pilots do before a balloon flight? Okay, now I read a little piece for you that the pilots will have to check on something beforehand, right? So the pilots, in order to fly a balloon, they will have to check the weather reports. Letter A, okay? Check the weather forecast. Weather forecast, check weather reports. It's mentioned here in the conversation. Okay, so here, right at the last the last part B. Oh, that would be okay. Oh, that would be great to see, and you can be sure that the pilots in that contest will be finding out the weather forecast. So, weather forecast, weather report. Okay, so number 10. So number 9, check weather reports. Okay, and 10. What can be inferred from the conversation about using balloons for transportation? Now, so they talked about the problems of not being able to guess the wind, because normally when we fly by plane, it's something very mechanical. Yeah, hot air balloon, they depend on the wind. So we can't have a day. Oh, we are going to fly. If it's used for transportation, I want to go to my grandfather's house tomorrow. So let's buy a hot balloon ticket. No, because I don't know about the weather report. All right. So number 10, balloons are too difficult to control to be used for transportation. So letter C. Okay. So number 10, letter C. Balloons are too difficult to control to be used for transportation due to the things I've already told you. Okay, guys, do you have any questions for me? Because now we are closing this listening section. All right, Debbie and I covered all these parts, and I'm curious to know later about your performance on this listening now after our explanations. Assignment is something that the teachers ask the students to do, right? We have, for example, when at Brazos we tell you, guys, homework lesson 16 for next class. That's an assignment. Yeah. Or guys, you have to read 2 books for the following class. That's an assignment. That's a homework. Okay, that's something that the teacher asks the students to do. In this case, what's about to read, or you have at Brazos, reading 2 for next class. Now in the Google Classroom, we can see that we have activities, we have assignments now that you must hands to us, okay? And email us or put in the Google Classroom. Yeah, okay? Strength. Strength is the noun for being strong. All right. So when you're strong is what? About the strength. You have a lot of strength. If you have a lot of strength, you are strong. Okay. Thanks, Luis, for your question. I didn't say the name of the other student. Any other question? No? So, Debbie, let's move on to the language form and meaning.
That's it, guys. Language form and meaning, all about grammar, my favorite part. I don't know about you, but this is my favorite part, right? Grammar itself. So let's see, guys. Number one, Lisa says the following. Yada, yada, you were at basketball practice today. Your teacher, Mr. Morris, called on the phone to talk to you. Guys, the only possible answer is while, letter B, okay? While gives this idea of simultaneous situations. While something happened or was happening, some other thing was happening or some other thing happened, right? While my husband was washing the dishes, I was sleeping. So two simultaneous situations. The other options are not possible. They are conjunctions, but they are totally like nothing to do. So, result, because, reason, although, contradiction, they make no sense in the sentence. Moving on, number two, he, yada, yada, one of his other classes on a field trip to the aquarium this Saturday. Guys, this Saturday, like today's Friday. When I say this Saturday, it's a near future, isn't it? So what can we use to refer to near future? Present continuous, right? So letter C is correct. He's taking one of his other classes. So present continuous being used to indicate future when it's near and certain. I mean, not certain because future is no certain at all. I mean, kind of certain, kind of arranged. So let's move on. Number three, a student in that class is sick and yada yada. Mr. Morris wants to know whether you'd like to take. Guys, the student who is sick, he will not be able to go. Okay, he will not be able to go. Why he will not be able to go? Because it's future. Okay, the other options, they are letter A is in the future, but will be not. This is not the correct order. Not will be able, will not. So the only possible one, the only grammatically correct one is letter D. Moving on, number four, whether I'd like to take. And then we have an example of possessive case, guys. Possessive case, that student's place. So we have apostrophe S, that student's place. Whose place? That student's. So letter A is correct. The other options, they don't fit. They're not grammatically correct. Okay? Number five, we have the following. He said that he is, yada, yada, you the chance. What is he doing? I mean, the teacher who called, Mr. Morris, what is he doing with the chance? Is he asking the student the chance? Is he offering the student the chance? Is he deciding? Is he discussing? He's offering, it's an offer. So he's offering the student the chance. Guys, first, because blah, blah, and then the rest. Guys, this is an example of language meaning. There is an example of language form when it comes to grammar stuff, to grammar-related stuff. And number five is totally related to grammar, to meaning. Okay, you have to understand the meaning. What does to ask mean? What does to offer mean? Right? Moving on, we have questions 6 to 9. So let's go. Number 6, a man's wristwatch. Okay, wristwatch. Yada yada in the lobby. Guys, finding, has found, was found. This is a classic case of passive voice. So something that was found, verb to be, plus the participle of the main verb. In this case, the verb to find, found. So a man's wristwatch was found where? In the lobby of this restaurant, whatever, right? So moving on. Number 7, we have the following. A restaurant worker, what did the worker do? He found something, and we know when that happened. When? That evening. So time is definite. We have definite time in the sentence, that evening. That means that the only possible answer is letter C, simple past, found. Okay, letter C is correct. Teacher, why not has found? Because it's present perfect. Has found, we cannot mention the time, right? So the time is clearly mentioned here. The other options are not even to be considered. Okay, So guys, let's go to number 8. Anyone, yada yada, at the restaurant that day should call that number, right? Anyone who was a guest. So who is a relative pronoun referring to a person. Who, person, what, object. So anyone is a person. I'm not saying anything, I'm saying anyone. So anyone who was a guest at the restaurant that day should call Luigi's at this number. Number 9, let's move on. Callers will be asked yada yada of the watch. So guys, when you are asked to do something. When you are asked to do something. It's the same thing as if you were using active voice. I asked someone to do. I asked someone to do. Someone was asked to do. So the only option here that I have in this format, to something, is letter B, right? To give a detailed description. So callers will be asked to give a detailed description. Otherwise, someone may call and invent stuff and invent the watch belonged to him or to her and, steal the watch from someone else. Okay, so number 9, letter B is correct. Now let's go to number 10. Okay, number 10, we have the following. Yada yada from Barksdale High School won this year's regional mathematics competition. Guys, this is a normal sentence. What is a normal sentence? A sentence with a subject, a verb, and a complement. So we have a subject. What is the subject? A student. So the only option here, out of 4, the only option that shows a real subject is letter D. A student from Barksdale High School won. We have the verb win in the past, won. So student won. Who won? A student. Subject. Okay. Let's move on. Number 11. The final question was a very yada yada algebra problem. Guys, here we know that only an adjective will fit. So all of the options are adjectives: wide, difficult, physical, and powerful. But this is a matter of understanding the meaning of the adjectives. So difficult, something hard to understand, something difficult to do, right? So we're talking about algebra, right? So yeah, it's difficult. By the way, if you ask me, wide, something broad, something big, large, okay? Moving on, number 12, okay? The first student to answer the question correctly was named the winner. He was named the winner. So he was considered the winner. He went there like in front of everyone and he was named by the others the winner. Letter A is correct. Number 13, guys. Number 13, we have the following. One student finished the problem. Well, this is a case of comparative, right? We have a comparative case here. So faster, faster than. Teacher, why isn't it as fast? Because then that would be as fast as. There is no the second as. So letter A is not possible, and fastest is superlative, and we don't have the article the fastest. So letter D is the only possible answer, okay? Faster than. So one student finished the problem faster than Mrs. Murphy, but his answer was incorrect, and Mrs. Murphy won the prize. Very good, guys. Let's go. Questions 14 to 21. Let's see. A marsupial is a mammal that carries its baby in a small pouch, okay? Yada, yada, its abdomen. So we have letter B, on. Look, on, not in, okay? On, guys, means is a preposition, okay, just like all the others, in, on, by, with. But on is when something is attached to some surface, on the wall, on the table, on the floor, okay, on the door. So let's place this sign on the door, not in the door. Don't break the door to put something inside of it, right? So on is correct, letter B. Moving on, number 15. This is because their babies are not born fully. Oh, teacher, which one? Letter C. We are talking about babies. Developed, right? What is happening to a baby? Doesn't matter if it's a marsupial baby or a human baby, any kind of babies. They are inside of us being what? Developed, right? Not prepared. For example, we don't prepare babies. We prepare cakes, we prepare recipes, we develop babies inside of us, right? So number 15, letter C. Let's go to number 16 then. It can't stay warm. It can't stay warm by itself. So alone, by itself, alone. Why by itself? Because the subject is it. So it by itself, he by himself. The other prepositions on, for, with, they don't fit because it's something fixed. By yourself, by myself means alone, without any help, anyone's help. Moving on, now number 17, okay? Number 17, guys, we have the following. Some Joeys, yada, leave their mother pouches for short periods of time. Okay, but they quickly, blah, blah, blah. Okay, which modal verb should I put here? Would, may, must, and should. Guys, this is not an obligation. This is not a recommendation, right? What is this? A possibility. They may. I'm not sure if they will. And it's not their obligation to do so. So it's a possibility. Letter B. Some Joeys may leave their mother's pouches. So letter B is correct. Possibility. All of them are modal verbs. Okay? Modal verbs are verbs that they come before main verbs and they modify the meaning of these verbs. That's why the name is modal verb. They modify the meaning of the next verbs. Number 18, but then I have to go back a little bit so that you can understand number 18. Some Joeys may leave their mother's pouches for short periods of time, but they quickly, okay, which verb should I use? They quickly throw back Thursday. They quickly go back, right? They quickly look back or take back. No, they quickly go back to it warmth. So they escape from their mother pouches for a little while, but they go back. To go back, guys, means to return, okay? This is a matter, this is a question of knowing the meaning of the verbs themselves. The most famous marsupials are the kangaroos and the koalas. Oh, okay, this is very interesting, guys. Okay, this is very interesting. Letter D is correct. Both native to Australia. Okay, guys, you are native to a place. Okay, or you are a native of a place. You are a native of Brazil. In this case, native is an adjective, okay? You are native to Brazil. In this case, native is a noun. So you can be native to or you can be a native of. So letter D is correct. In fact, moving on, number 20. In fact, 70% of the marsupials, okay, now we have just the verb to live and then you have to conjugate the verb to live properly. Is it plural? Is it singular? Is it continuous? Guys, it's simple present and it's plural because 70% is already plural, they, right? So they live. Letter A is correct. There is only one marsupial in North America. That is, who is, it is, or this is. Guys, that is the possum, okay? Why that is? We've just talked about relative pronouns, who referring to anyone. But now we're not talking about people, we're talking about an animal. So that is. We could also use which is or that is, but which is not one of the options. So who is not possible, and the other last two, they are not even relative pronouns. It is a subject pronoun, this is a demonstrative pronoun. So the only possible answer is letter A, that is the possum. I hope you did great on the first 21 questions of language, form, and meaning. Now let me see if you have any questions about anything I said. Questions for me? No questions. Okay. Oh. Throwback. Yeah, not literally. Yes, when you do it, but not literally. When you throw back Thursday, for example, hashtag TBT, you throw back your memories. You try to remember stuff from the past. You don't throw back literally. You go back literally. Thank you, Amanda. Any other questions? Guys, okay, thank you very much. Now let's go with Teacher Renata, the rest, the final part, the second part of language, form, and meaning. Thank you. See you. Bye-bye for now.
Let's check our grammar and vocabulary comprehension again. right? As Debbie brilliantly explained, we have to deal with grammar here and also vocabulary, okay? Now, different from what you're used to seeing, we don't have loose sentences. We have emails, we have texts. So everything here is what? Contextualized. So sometimes you have to find the answer. We have to go back, like Debbie did a couple of times. She had to go back to the beginning of the structure to come up with the correct answer, like almost at the end of the paragraph. Okay, so here we have an email. All right, it says, "Dear Mrs. Grant, I'm writing to ask you about Friday field trip to the aquarium. I never thought I should be so excited about a field trip." Letter A, okay? So I never thought I should be so excited, or I never thought I would be so excited. I never thought no. The answer must be excited, all right? Now, our question is, should or would? It's about a conditional, right? So then I never thought I would. I never thought I would be so excited, right? So then something's exciting, it makes us excited. So the field trip is exciting, I get excited. So I never thought I would be so excited. So we could only analyze should be or would be, but should is not an option here because it's not a conditional, right? Should is what? It's a suggestion, a recommendation, all right? In some cases, a probability, but not in this case. So here, I never thought I would be so excited about a field trip. Now, then here we come up with expressions. So here now we have mostly vocabulary because we have the expressions, but also we have to pay attention to the grammar because we have to balance grammar and vocabulary. So here we have I'm really, all right. Which expressions that we use with to be? Because here I'm really, so verb to be. So we have to be crazy for, to going for, we don't have to be interested in, to get a kick out of. So the only two that we could analyze is what? To be crazy for or to be interested in. In this case, nothing, like when you say I'm crazy for something, is like I really love something, but that's not the case because it doesn't show anything in the sentence that it shows a big excitement about being crazy for something. So I'm really interested in sea animals. I'm really interested in. I'm really interested in. So to be interested in. So I'm really interested in sea animals. So letter C, right? I have a question about what's supposed to bring to the picnic. I'm wondering, yes, I'm thinking, I want to know. I'm wondering if we are to bring food to share with everyone or just food for ourselves. Now, I'm sorry. Okay, so here we have, we could use two prepositions with sorry. Sorry about or sorry for. Now, when we say, sometimes you are sorry for something and you're sorry about something, about a fact, but when it's about a fault, when it's something that you feel that you should have done, so you say what? I'm sorry for not asking you this question in class, but I didn't think of it until now. So when you finish reading the sentence, you see clearly that he should have done something that he didn't do. So I'm sorry for asking you this. I'm sorry for not asking you this question in class, but I didn't think of it until now. Now, I hope you don't mind. All right. So in class, we always have those verbs, yeah, that we teach. Some verbs are followed by ing, right? So we have suggest, stop, right? Finish, mind, miss. So I don't mind, we must use ing. So A and B, we ignore. Okay, so we already delete these options from our thoughts. So I hope you don't mind my emailing or I don't mind for me. No, I don't mind. I hope you don't mind my emailing you, right? I hope you don't mind my telling you. If you're from book 8, we have that question. If you don't mind my saying so, you look gorgeous in that blue dress. Yeah. If you don't mind me saying so, if you don't mind my saying so. So if you don't mind my emailing you, okay? So letter C, okay? Right, oh, sorry. So here we have the end of this passage that goes from questions 22 to 25. Now, questions 26 to 26 to 33 refer to a magazine article. Yeah, it's about the basking shark. The basking shark is a kind of shark that if you search, you see the picture. Okay, unlike some other sharks, the basking shark is humans. Is what? Is no threat to humans. So the basking shark is no threat to humans. Letter A. Okay? Letter A. All right. Now, growing to a size. Okay, now here, as David explained before, we have a question of comparative here. We have then. Okay, we have then. If we have then, letter A is not possible. Yeah. So we have B, C, and D that many large, we cross it out because it's grammatically incorrect. Yeah. So growing to a size, what? Growing to a size much larger than the average human. So much larger. So growing to a size, what? Is larger, doesn't fit here grammatically, okay? So growing to a size much larger than the average human, this giant fish simply ignores divers who swim up to it. Now here we have vocabulary again. We have to see, and we have to pay attention to the preposition that comes right here. So the diet of a basking shark, of fish and small animals. So which verb that is usually follows by of consists? So the diet of a basking shark consists of fish and small animals such as squid, shrimp, and crabs. So correct answer, letter C. All right, guys. Now, then in our next question, in your answer key, there was a mistake. Okay, so I'd like to call your attention for that. I believe in the correct answer according to your it's different than that. So when it is hungry, it looks for places, but a great number of these small animals can be found. So looks for places where, okay, where, because the answer is, I believe it's whose in the answer key, if I'm not wrong, but okay, the correct answer is letter B, where. So when it's hungry, it looks for places where a great number of these small animals can be found, okay? Because here, although this is related to the place, okay? As it's related to the place, the best one that suits here would be where. So when it's hungry, it looks for places where a great number of these small animals can be found. Okay, so that's number 29. Going on, okay, with the magazine article. So once it locates an area, all right. So then I have the next words with fish. So once it locates an area crowded with fish, a basking shark simply opens its huge mouth and slowly swims through it. So, and then it explains what happens. Now, here we have flowing water into its mouth and continues. Now, so here we have what? Water flows into its mouth and continues out through a special filter structure that traps the small fish and other creature. So, because the other ones, to start a sentence, to flow water, it doesn't have a grammatically correct sequence. Yeah. So water flows into its mouth and continues. Why? Because we have a sequence of tenses. Both are in a simple present. So water flows into its mouth and continues out throughout a special filter structure that traps a small fish and other creature. Now, then we have here a conjunction that shows what? A contrariety, a contradiction. Although this method does not of eating does not require, so although this method of eating does not require the shark to move quickly, then I have the contrary explanation. Okay, so 32. Although this method of eating does not require the shark to move quickly, it still requires a lot of effort. Okay, so letter C. Okay, now, so then we have here, then we have a basking shark will filter up to 2,000 tons of water per hour. So then what? It seems to us that we have an explanation. So in order to obtain enough food, a basking shark would filter up to 2,000 tons of water per hour. Okay, so 33, letter B, in order to obtain enough food. Okay, so this is the end of this article here, and we go to our last. Here we have an essay. Okay, so we have a text, right? And then we have mixed here also grammar and prepositions. So now, people's behavior during public events has changed over the years, okay? Over the years, right? Over the years, perhaps because views on what is considered appropriate have changed. So then although all of them are prepositions on number 34, okay? By the ears is the one that fits better here in the sentence, okay? So now, and then perhaps because views on what is considered passive voice, okay? Here we have an example of passive voice, of what is considered appropriate have changed. During a classical music concert, for example, now, then we have, what happened? During a classical music concert, for example, what? People do not clap until the musicians finish playing the composition. All right? So if we try to put the others, like during a classical music event, for example, people are not clapping. No, people do not. Totally, disorganized. Okay? So now, 36. During a classical music concert, for example, people do not clap, letter B, until the musicians finish playing the composition. Now, it would be hard. Okay, now here we know that it's something related to imagination. So what's to use? A noun, imagination, a verb, to imagine infinitive, a verb in the past, a verb in the present. Now, it would be hard to imagine. So it would be hard to imagine, okay, letter C. It would be hard to imagine the audience clap in the middle of a performance. Okay, so 37, C. It may come as a surprise to many, however, that long ago, okay, at Brazos we taught you ago, simple past, right? So, however, that long ago, this is exactly what people did. Okay, letter A. So this is exactly what people did. 38, letter A. Okay? Because the others, ago, what people had done, but we don't have, people had done it, right? What did people do? It's not a question, right? So this is exactly what people did. All right. Now, finishing here, 34 to 42. Here we have the audience laughed loudly. Oh, laughed, simple past. Clapped, simple past. And what? And cheered, great moments. Yes, like to remember with affection, right? So we have here a sequence of tenses: laughed, clapped, cheered. So the audience laughed loudly, clapped, and cheered, great moments, right? So that was, okay, now here we have why. We have a question word. Why, how, what, which. All right. So, okay, let's follow reading the sentence. People show their regard for a performance skills. So that was why. No. Here they are showing what? They are showing how people showed their regard. Okay? So what they did. So that was how people show their regard for performance skills. Okay? So letter B. All right? Now, one reason that people behavior was so what? So different. So different. Yeah? So we know that they are from the same family, but we have to see which one fits. Verb. You see, that's why we're saying that language form and meaning, we have grammar, we have vocabulary, comprehension, right? And we have to understand how the two are connected, right? So we know the meaning, but we have to see whether to use an adjective, whether to use a verb. So one reason that people behavior was so different, letter D, was not thought to be. Okay, then here we have what? It is nowadays more serious since we need then here. So serious then, impossible. As serious. So see, so actually this here for you Brazil students, it's like quickly, because they are totally wrong. So long ago, classical music was not thought to be as serious as it is nowadays. So letter D, as serious as it is nowadays. So guys, here we've done with 2/3 of the correction of the test. I'm so excited. Okay, so now we are going to the reading comprehension. Let's see if you have any questions for me. Any questions, guys? Where is this from?
This question is for me, I think. Awesome. I think this is for me, right? This is from my part, right?
I don't remember reading this.
The
Part.
possum is the only marsupial in North America. It's a kind of kangaroo from North America. I think this is for you, if you want to.
All right. Well, I don't remember this in the sentence, but okay. So, we basically the two of them, they mean what? They mean to be perseverance. They've got to do with perseverance. But I don't remember seeing this in the grammar. Do we have this thing in the grammar, Amanda? I'm sorry, but I don't remember seeing this. But when you insist on doing something, basically the difference is about the preposition, right? When you see like you persist on doing something, you insist on doing something. Okay, so both are correct. But was that a mistake you made on a language form and meaning? Do you remember having this there, Debbie? Yeah, I don't remember either. Okay, but basically, by the 34. Okay, 34 over the years is mine, right? Yes. Yeah, 34 is mine. Over the years, Juliana. Over the years.
Yes, I think that's it.
Anything else?
Yes. Congrats, Renata. Very good.
Yeah, so we are done with the language form.
Language
So now we
forming.
have our reading comprehension that, as Debbie said, time management is something that we have to pay attention to because it's a key factor for this test. Since this part of the test is the last one, is the one that gives us more work.
Yes. It takes up most of your time, guys. Now, reading comprehension section, there will be 6 passages. Okay, I'm gonna cover 4, and teacher Renata will cover the last 2, right? So let's start with passage 1. The first passage. Let's go straight to the questions, and then we refer to the text when possible, whenever possible. Guys, number 1, in line 2 of the note, the word this refers to. So let's go to line 2. Thanks for volunteering to clean up the science laboratory this afternoon. Usually when a student does this for the first time, this what? To clean up the science laboratory, right? So letter D is correct, cleaning the science laboratory. Whenever you have these kind of questions, you have to read the context, okay? What comes before the word underlined, all right? Or sometimes even after it, okay? So number 1, letter D. Number 2, guys, the question is the following. Where will Mr. Marston probably be when Kathy cleans the lab? Okay, here, guys, this teacher says the following. I have a teacher's staff meeting at 3:30. So let's see the options, guys. Option letter C, at a meeting. He's clear when he says that he's going to be at the staff's meeting, okay? Very good. So letter C is correct. Let's go to number 3. Where should Kathy put the glass containers? There is a list of chores for Kathy to accomplish, and there is one specific that says where she should put the glass containers. So let's see. Let's refer to the text again. So here the teacher says, number 2, after washing the containers, place them upside down on a towel to dry. So on a towel. So let's see the options. Number 3, we have exactly the first option, on a towel. Letter A is correct. Okay, number 4, the following question. What should Kathy do immediately after sweeping the floor? Well, since there is a list, we don't remember by heart, so we have to refer to the text again. So after sweeping the floor, we have the following chore. Put the trash outside the door. So let's see if this is one of the options. This has to be one of the options, right? Look, letter D, take the trash out of the lab. So take the trash, put the trash, get rid of the trash, any kind of verb that means the same thing. Number 5, when should Kathy give the key back to Mr. Marston? Okay, so let's refer to the text again. And then Mr. Marston says the following. You can, the last line, yes, before he says, thank you so much, he says, you can return the key to me tomorrow when we have class at 10:30. So let's look for this among the options. Before school begins the next morning. Before school begins the next morning. Letter D is correct, and we are done with passage 1. Now, guys, let's go to passage 2. Passage 1 was quite easy. Now let's go to passage 2. Okay, oops, sorry. Passage 2, guys, is this text here, okay? Questions 6 to 10. So let's do the same thing. Let's go straight to the questions. Guys, question number 6 is the following. Why is the author a student at Wilson Middle School? Why is the author a student at Wilson Middle School? So let's see why, guys. Here he says the following. The second line, he says the following. Over the summer, My father got a new job, so our whole family moved. Now I go to Wilson. So he moved from his previous school to Wilson Middle School. So this has to be one of the options. So let's see. Number 6, letter A, because his family recently moved. Number 7, in line 4, the word perspective is closest in meaning to. Guys, perspective itself means point of view. I already know about that. But if you don't know the meaning of perspective, we can refer to the text. Line 4, let's see here. I want to make some comments based on my unique perspective as someone who has attended 2 different middle schools. My unique opinion, my unique point of view, the way I see the world. Okay, perspective. So number 7, letter D, point of view. Number 8, in line 9, the word one refers to, yes, this is a question that, yes, we have to go back, we have to refer to the text, because one can mean like lots of things, right? So let's go to line number 9 and see. Okay, here it says the following. The dishes are pretty tasty, and as for choices, remember I told you I always read the previous lines, to help me understand what one means. So, and as for choices, at the school I went last year, there were never more than 2 lunch options each day. Sometimes there was only one. One what? One option. So option has to be one of our alternatives, okay? Option letter C. The word one refers to option. Let's go to number 9. Why does the author like the food at Wilson Middle School? Why does the author like the food? Okay, let's go to number 9 and let's see why. Here, when he talks about the food, he says, but I like the food. The dishes are pretty tasty. And as for choices, at the school I went to last year, there were never more than 2 lunch options each day. Sometimes there was only one. So he's kind of complaining that at his previous school, he didn't have a great variety of options. So let's see. It tastes good, right? That's what he says. It tastes good. I like the food. It tastes good. There's nothing to argue about. Number 9. Let's go to number 10. What does the author imply about the students at his previous school compared to students at Wilson Middle School? What does he imply? The same thing, guys. These verbs imply, conclude, suggest. It's not clear. We have to read and understand to get to a conclusion, right? So what does he imply? Let's see. He says the following. The last line. At my last school, students were not as actively involved in forming clubs. So what does it mean, guys? That means that they planned fewer activities because they didn't used to engage too many activities as the current school that he goes to, that he attends. So his previous classmates, schoolmates, didn't plan so many activities, so they planned fewer activities. Is this like there for you to read and mark the answer? No, you have to understand, and then you have to conclude to get to this conclusion. Okay, that's why there is this verb imply on the question. Passage number 3. Let me just move here, the banner. Yes, for you to know, where we are. Okay, guys, so let's go. Passage number 3 comprehends questions 11 to 17, okay? It's about cricket. I don't know if you remember the text, but it's about a sport named cricket. Number 11, the following question. What title best summarizes the main idea of the passage? Let's see. We know it's about cricket, but what about cricket? Well, the author starts saying, cricket, how I detested this game when I was young. Guys, we observe that the verb to detest is in the past. So he detested, probably, even if you don't continue reading the text, it implies that he doesn't detest anymore because he detested, right? So if he is still detested, he would say, I have detested since I was young. He would use present perfect instead. So I have detested. Since he doesn't use present perfect, he uses simple past. So you imply that he doesn't detest anymore, right? So let's see, and you read the text, you know that's exactly what he talks about. So let's see the options we have. Number 11, we have cricket, a game for all ages. This is not mentioned. If it's for all ages, maybe it is, but it's not mentioned. How I learned to love cricket? Probably yes, because since he detested, and now this turned out to be love, hate turned out to be love. So probably letter B. The dangers of playing cricket. Dangers are not even mentioned in the text. And learning the rules of a difficult game. No, guys, you see no rules in the text. So letter B is the only possible answer. How I learned to love cricket. Number 12. In line 1, the word detested is closest in meaning to. Guys, we don't need to go to line 1 to know the meaning of the verb to detest. Yes, there are verbs, there are vocabulary words that, yes, we have to go to understand because that differs, that varies from the context, you know, that depends on the context. Not in this case. Number 12, hated totally. To detest, to hate, to detest, to hate. There is no doubt about that. Number 13, what best describes the author's attitude toward cricket when he was very young? So, guys, let's see. When he was very young, how did he feel about cricket? He already said that he detested, right? But how did he feel? He said the following. The second line, he says, every game seemed the same. Yes, one team won and the other one lost, but it was always the same game. So, you know, if you read with his tone of voice, you can feel that he found it boring. He used to find it boring. So letter A, it was boring to watch. It was boring to watch. Something boring, something that's not fun, okay? Number 14, according to the author, what was surprising about some of the cricket games he played? Okay, so let's see. According to him, what was surprising? Number 14. Let's see the options first, because this is so, you know, comprehensive. They were played without bats, they were played on rooftops, no one cared who won them, and no one got hurt playing them. Let's see. Guys, here, the author mentions the following that is surprising. We played on the street, line 7. We played on the street, in the backyard, even on the tops of buildings, believe it or not. When he says even, and when he says believe it or not, that shows what? Surprise, right? Something incredible, something that it's hard to believe. Imagine, guys, playing cricket on the tops of buildings. So what option? Which option is the right one? Guys, the option letter B. They were played on rooftops, okay? That's exactly when the author shows what is surprising about cricket games. Now let's go to number 15. The author describes memories of all the following except. Guys, every time there is a question with this word except, you have to read all the options. You have to, because you don't know what the exception is. So how the sun felt on his skin, how the ball sounded hitting the bat, how the sky turned from light to dark, and how the rules of the game caused arguments. Well, if you read the text, you already know the answer, but let's check, okay? Let's go back to the text and let's check the right answer. He says the following. I can recall so clearly the sounds of the ball hitting the bat, so check, this is mentioned, okay? I can still feel the sun on my face, yes, this is also mentioned. As I played, and the bruises and the scratches from falling down. I can still see the blue sky fade into darkness, yes. Well, the only thing he doesn't talk about is, let's go back to the question. The only thing he doesn't mention is letter D, right? He doesn't talk about how the rules of the game caused arguments. He doesn't even talk about arguments. Arguments are oral fights, okay? Oral fights. When you start to argue with someone, you start calling the person's name and saying horrible things to the person, you know, usually pissed and usually irritated. Not the case, he doesn't talk about it, but he talks about all the 3 previous things. He talks about how the sun felt on his skin, how the ball sounded, and how the sky turned from light to dark. Letter D is the only one that he doesn't mention. Now, guys, let's go to number 16. What change does the author describe? Yes, again, we have to read all the options. There is no other way out. So he could not remember the rules of cricket at first, but then he decided it did not matter. He was afraid of getting hurt playing cricket at first, but then he stopped being afraid. He did not like cricket at first, but then he began to enjoy it. He liked playing cricket at first, but then he grew tired of it. Guys, if you read the text, you know that the only possible answer is letter C. There is nothing to refer to. It's the whole text is about a guy who used to hate something, a sport, and then he turned out to love it. So letter C, okay? Number 17, yes. In line 13, the word found is closest in meaning to. Guys, found is something good, okay? Just for you to know. Found, when you say, oh, I'm very fond of you, that means, oh, I like you so much. I feel good when I'm with you. But let's go to the text. Let's suppose you have no idea of what found means. Let's go to the text, line 13. Yes, now I watch it not with anger. So he says that found is good because he says not with anger, and anger is something negative, but with fond memories of the endless days and nights spent playing the game. So what are fond memories, guys? Lovely memories, happy memories. Okay, so let's see if these things I said are one of the options. Yes. Happy memories, not cruel memories, old memories, or interesting. Interesting is something positive too, but not so positive as happy, okay? So guys, we are done with passage number 3. Now, let's go to passage number 4, and the last passage that I'm going to be in charge of, then Teacher Renata will be with you, right? So let's go. Passage number 4, and the last one, yes. Guys, passage number 4 comprehends questions 18 through 23, guys. It's about that guy who was in charge of a baby. He was called to be a babysitter for a night, and, you know, things happened while he was babysitting the guy, the little boy. So number 18, let's see. Why did Edward go to the miller's house? I've already given the answer, right? Why did Edward go to the miller's house? Okay, let's suppose you don't know the answer, okay? So here, the text says the following. The millers, right, the couple, they had a 5-year-old son, and they had asked Edward to watch him that evening while they went out. So, why did he go to the miller's house? Let me see. To take care of Lucas, letter B. To babysit Lucas, to take care of Lucas. Number 18, letter B. Number 19, in line 7, the word entertain is closest in meaning to. Again, there are verbs and vocabulary words that you already know the meaning. There are some that you don't, okay? To entertain is a cognate. It's similar to our mother language, okay? To have a good time, right? To have fun. But let's go to line 7. Let's suppose you don't know this, okay? Line 7. Okay, the millers asked Edward to entertain Lucas for an hour and then put him in bed. Guys, to have fun with Lucas, to play with Lucas, since he was the babysitter of the night, the designated babysitter, okay? So, letter C is correct, to play with. Number 20, what did Edward and Lucas do before Lucas went to bed? Well, let's see. What did they do before they went to bed? Well, he was told to play with him. He was told to entertain him. So what did they do? Here, they played. It's written here, line 9. They played some games and built a tower out of wooden blocks. So let's see if either of them is one option. Let's see. Yes, letter A, they built a tower of blocks. We've just read this in the text. Number 21, guys. In line 26, the word one refers to a... Yes, guys, this is impossible to know. One can refer to anything, as I've just said, right? So let's go to line 26 and let's check. Line 26, we have the following. Lucas, see, he said, no monster. And then Lucas begged, will you stay with me in case one comes? One who? One what? A monster. He was talking about having monsters under his bed. So, one monster. Letter C. One refers to a monster. Now let's see number 22. How did Lucas probably feel about going to bed? Guys, when the question is about feelings, we have to understand. Sometimes it's not there, for us out there, but we have to understand. So let's go. How did he feel about going to bed? Here it says the following. I know he felt really, really disappointed, right? Because he didn't want to go to bed and afraid. So let me see. Yes, Lucas, it's here, line 11. Lucas looked disappointed. So he didn't want to go to bed. That's why he asked him to read him a story. And then if you continue reading the text, you're going to see that besides being disappointed, he was also afraid. First, he was afraid of the dark, and then he was afraid of monsters. So let's see if these are one of the options. Number 22. So yes, number 22, disappointed and afraid. Lucas, the little boy, he was not angry. He was not nervous. He was not tired. He was not confused. He was disappointed because children, as far as I know, children don't like to go to bed. They want to play all night long. And afraid, okay? As we've just talked. Number 23, and I think it's my last one, right? Yay. Let's go, guys. Number 23, the question is, why did Lucas keep calling out to Edward? Why? So let's see. I already know the answer because we've just seen that Lucas was afraid, right? And he says this here. He says, I'm afraid of the dark. He says, Edward, I'm afraid of the dark. And then 5 minutes later, he called out again, Edward again, and then he said, I thought I heard a sound. I think there might be a monster under my bed. So the question is, number 23, why do Lucas keep calling out? Letter B. He did not want to be left alone, guys. It's not that the guy he actually saw something under the bed. He didn't see anything under the bed. It's just that he didn't want to be left alone. He wanted company. He wanted Edward to make him company. Guys, I'm done with my part here today with you. I'm going to stay with you till the end, okay? Don't worry. I'm done with reading comprehension section, passage number 4, passage number 5 and 6. Teacher Renata will take over, and I'd like to know if you have any questions about one of these 4 passages, okay? Passage 1, 2, 3, or 4. To wipe down, can you tell me what passage this is for me to see the context, Lucas? Which passage? To wipe, I'm going to explain, generally speaking, right? Because sometimes we need to know what the context is, but to wipe something is to get some, let's suppose this is a piece of cloth, right? I'm dusting the furniture and then I'm going to wipe something, right? Wipe down is to remove something from a surface. But I really need to understand the context for me to explain better, okay? If you can tell me what the passage is, it's better for me. Any other questions? No? All right. Thank you, guys. Now let's go to passage number 5. Teacher Renata, have fun.
Okay, guys. So now, guys, now we have the questions 24 until 42, okay? And we are going to see here an article. If you have questions, okay, they will be answered. If not all today, they will be in YouTube. Don't worry, all right? We'll try to answer all your questions, okay? Now, the first one we have here, we have a newspaper article that has a focus on the environment. So they are telling what a school is doing because of a problem, all right? So based on this problem that we have, the answers the questions that we're going to find out now. Okay. Now, guys, the first question we have here is, what would be the most appropriate headline for this article? So, as I've already told you, the text has a focus on the environment, yeah? And we are going to see why. In general terms, the school is going to do something to make the environment better. So here we have the answer. Letter A, local school gets greener. Okay, greener in this case, what? In this case, we'll see that's with trees. Yeah, it's not because they painted the school green. It's because the school will have a lot of trees that we're gonna check later. All right, and here, if we go back to right at the beginning here, Marina's High School, Hills High School is fighting pollution in an unusual way. It's planting trees. In the effort to find pollution and help the environment, the Marina Hills Ecology Club offers free trees to institutions. Okay, and then we are going to see along the questions what we have. Okay, so so here we have what would be the most appropriate headline for the article? Local school gets green, letter A. There's no science award. They didn't discover a new tree, right? Nothing mentions about the teacher leading an ecological club. So the one that we imply from what we read, the best headline would be local school gets greener, letter A. Okay, and based on what we saw, right? We read about problems. Now, pay attention to this question here. What problem does Principal Webb talk about? It's very quick when we see pollution, but the thing is, it's mentioned right in the text. Pollution, yes, but not pollution in the city. Pollution, we're talking about the school. The focus is on the school, right? So, why? Because here on line 19, we see it gets so hot inside the building that the students start to sweat during their afternoon classes. So, the best answer for question number 25 would be what? B, classrooms are too hot. Letter B, classrooms are too hot. That's the biggest problem that they are trying to face. Now, number 26, what did the ecology club do for the Marina Hills High School? All right, in line 5, right here, we have, in the effort to find pollution and help the environment, the Marina Hills Ecology Club offers free trees to institutions, as I had already read. Okay, so 26, the answer would be, what did the Ecology Club do for the Marina High School? Right, so it provided free trees, letter D, provided free trees. All right. Now, and then in line 13, the word seedlings closest to meaning. Okay, they mention about the seeds, right? About the trees. But when the seedlings arrived, Webb had an idea, right? So instead of planting the young trees in the front of the school, so seedlings here, young trees. What would be closer to the meaning here? So line 20, in line 13, the word seedlings is what? Young trees. All right? Because they didn't say anything about the seeds, although we have the seedlings, and this is only to guide you to the mistake. Okay, so the young trees, as they mentioned there. All right, now 28. 28 we have here. What decision was changed? Something happened. They had a plan, and then as as their project went on, they had another idea. What was that idea? Okay, let's check here on line 25th. Look, there was no argument from the teacher. When I proposed the idea, everyone said, now, why didn't I think of that? Right? So, what was that? They wanted to plant the tree somewhere. So, 28, what decision? So, what decision was changed? Where the new trees should be planted. Letter C, where the new trees should be planted. Okay? Now, number 29 here, Debbie had some questions about that too, and they said, in line 22, the word, this kind of exercise is what I explained to you. If you're short on time, go right to these questions where you have in line, and then you have the answers. So in line 22, let's go to line 22. Okay, now the shade from our trees will bring them some relief. Okay, but so far we don't know who them refers to. So it gets so hot inside the building that the students start to sweat during their afternoon classes, said Webb. Now the shade from our trees will bring them some relief. All right? So 29, what? The word them refers to the students. Okay? All right. Now, so then a little bit further in the text, they received the seedlings, yes, and they talked about the kind of seedlings. All right. So what can be inferred from the article about eucalyptus and willow trees? When we think about a tree and to solve a problem of a pollution, to solve a problem because the overheating, we think, come on, it cannot be a tree that takes too long to grow and give the expected result. So here, page 30, right here, when they mention something, look, now, and then they talk about the change because it requested 2 species of trees that grow quickly. So, number 30, what can be inferred from the article and eucalyptus and willow trees? Exactly what's written on the test. They grow quickly. Okay? Now, and then there was another problem about the birds. They mentioned something about the birds right at the end of the passage. Look, they talk about the birds. If all you have is a grass lawn with no trees, you can't expect the local birds to come and visit, said Webb. They have no place to make their nests. Now, that will change. And we'll be able to see birds from our classroom windows. Why? The trees will be close to the window. The birds will go there and do their nest. So, our last question from this passage. So, 31 is what? That is, what about the birds? They are not often seen at the school. Why? Because they have nowhere to go. You don't see nests on the floor. Normally, they build their nests on the trees. Okay? Now, our last passage here, okay, it's where they talk about the bats. Yes? Where they talk about the bats. Here we have some scientific details, but the text is not a difficult one. Okay? So they talk about the bats and they compare the bats, right? They compare the bats to birds. Yeah? All right. Now, and then here, when our first question here, let's go back here. All right. So in line 20, the word suspended is closest to meaning in. All right, let's go there to line 20. We know the answer, but let's analyze together. Okay, so a group of researchers recently used video cameras to film bats landing on nets suspended from the ceiling. All right, so then what would be closer here? So in line 20, okay? So, no, sorry. 32, I'm sorry. Now, what's the main topic of the passage? What's the main topic of the passage? What? This is what? Is to talk about the bats, places where flying animals choose to land. I don't know. Why scientists have difficulty observing bats? differences in the eating habits? No, is what? Letter D, ways in which bats move differently from birds. Okay, let's go there and let's check. All right, so right here on line 1. Okay, so skill for flying animals, particularly way they fly. So then they explain this to them. All right, so letter D, ways in which bats have moved differently from birds. All right, now 33. In line 2, the word terrestrial, it's closest to meaning in. All right, now here actually we don't even need to see this because we have terrestrial, it's very similar to our mother language. So high, fly, fast moving, but when we have ground living, right? Ground, terrestrial. So terrestrial here, ground living. If we substitute here in this line, right? Ground living animals face no particular challenge when they need to stop running or crawling. So it does make sense, okay? So 33, ground living. Now, then 34, we have, according to the passage, what skill is crucial for flying animals? So, where do we have this information? Right at the beginning of the text, right? So here, they say about, look, being able to land safely is a critically important skill for all flying animals. And also they talk about how those flying animals move at much higher speeds, right? So here, the correct answer, 34, is what? According to the passage, what skill is crucial for flying animals? It's what the letter B, slowing down to land, right? Now, because diving underwater, no. Flying over great distance, no, they didn't mention that. Bouncing on high branches, no. All right? Now, 35. Which of the following is a false assumption about bats that was recently corrected? Okay? So we have to be really careful when we have this kind of question. What is a false assumption? What's correct except? What's wrong about that? What's incorrect to say? We have to pay attention to this. So now, the correct answer is that they fly similarly to birds, right? Remember when I said at the beginning, they were comparing the bats to the birds, right? So then let's go to line 7 and see if they mention something here. Both bats and birds have mastered the skill of landing, but these two types of flyers go about it quite differently, right? So here they mention that this is different about them. So that they fly similarly, that's wrong about it, that they fly similarly to birds. Letter C, 35, letter C. All right, now, then, 36. According to the passage, what's an advantage that bats have over birds? All right, now here we have to go all the way to here, line 14. Actually, we start in line 13. However, they are much better at maneuverability. A bat can quickly change its directions of flight, or completely reverse it, something a bird cannot easily do. All right, so the correct answer would be letter B. Bats can turn in the air more quickly, okay? What we've just read. All right. Now, then in line 11, the word incorporate is closest to meaning is, all right. Now, so what is to incorporate? To incorporate is to integrate, okay? It's to integrate. So then here, what would be correct? To include, yeah? If we substitute here on line 11, let's see if it works, include. And their wings include both their front and hind limbs. Yeah, so hind, the back limbs. All right, rear. Okay. Now, 38, line 14, the word it refers to, all right, let's go back there, line 14, all right, so now, a bat can quickly change its direction of flight or completely reverse it, okay, so I'm talking about direction, okay, now, then, here on number 39, the researchers used all the following study bats except, all right? So they used three things to study the bats, three things among these options here, okay? Now, we have nets, paint, cables, and cameras. Now, if we go to line 19, we have cameras, 1, nets, 2, right? And then we have, so nets, camera, and paint, 3. So I don't remember seeing cables. So cables this word cables was not seen in the text. So the researchers used all the following except cables. Letter C. Okay? Now, approaching the end of it, 40. All right. Now, in line 20, the word suspended is closer to meaning is, guys, something that we have to be very careful is that although sometimes you quickly see the answer, sometimes they give you answers to lead you to the error. So we must be really careful about that. Okay, so that's why it's always good to go back to the text to refer it. So the correct answer would be hanging. This we know. Well, actually, but what about falling? We don't know. Let's go there and check. Okay, what suspended and white hanging would be to get line, let's go back to line 20. All right. So in line 20, on the nets suspended, on the nets hanging from the ceiling of the laboratory. Okay. So 40, the word that fits better here, suspended, its closest to meaning is hanging. All right. Now, in line 24, the word slams closest to meaning to. All right, guys, although this is another one that you may know immediately. Okay, right, because we have to slam the door, right? To crash the door, right? So, but here it's crash because, but let's go back to the text on line 24. See if it makes any sense. One downside to this landing routine is that the bats often slam into their landing spot with some force. So it makes sense. Crash. Crash would be the correct answer here. Okay? On line 24. Finally, according to the passage, what helps determine a bat's landing speed? This is right at the end, of the text. Yeah? So, let's see here. The answer is letter D, where it lives. Let's check it out on line 26. Right. However, not all bats hit their landing spots with the same speed and force. These will vary depending on the area where a bat species makes its home. So here we have a clear answer where it lives. Okay, so here we come to the end of our correction. Let's see if you have any question. If you have any questions before we end this. Any questions related to this passage? Nope, guys? No? So, Debbie, I guess we've reached the end of it. Yes? Right? So, guys, so we are very happy to be here with you, very happy to have this project, very, very happy to be part of this project with you and to have so many engaged students here and based it on your response that you gave us, your feedback. Some of us had students here taking this prep course, and we got a lot of positive feedbacks. So we have gone through the end of this test, and we do hope that you have done really well. But in case you noticed that you haven't done that well on a specific area, as Debbie already said, there's no need to worry about it. You have ways of fixing it, okay? So if you didn't do well on a specific ability, such as listening, reading, if you had trouble with vocabulary comprehension or grammar, there are many ways. You still have time to fix these things, okay, and improve these areas. How? First of all, is to attend all your regular Brazos classes, and guys, being on time. Time is something that I always talk about it. Time is the key thing for this international courses. And why am I saying time in order to improve this ability? Because you have to be on time also to your classes. And why? In order to participate in the homework correction, learn from the teacher's explanations. Also, make use of your grammar book, okay? So the grammar book is a great way of checking prepositions, adjectives, word order. It's a great way of doing this, okay? Now, last but not least, something that we Brazos team are very happy about it is about these wonderful tools that you will have no regrets in exploring it, that it's called eBrazos, okay? So there, eBrazos, you will find lots of activities according to your level, okay? According to your level, your English level, according to your likes and dislikes, your tastes, your interests, yeah? And besides learning new structures, you will always learn more about idioms, vocabulary, word order, grammar structures, all that is needed for these international proficiency tests, such as TOEFL Junior, okay? And once again, I mentioned to you that time is very important, because as Debbie mentioned, time management is extremely important. So as I told you in all my classes, good timing and the ability to pace yourself can make or break your TOEFL score, okay? So we do hope, Debbie and I and the whole Brazos team, that you had a wonderful time with us, the same we did. We worked very hard to bring this gift to you, all right? And we do wish you the very best. And keep in mind, guys, you can always count on us, your teachers, the coordinators, the directors, we Brazos team, okay? And see you soon, and congratulate, and see you on your test, okay?
Thank you. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.